A lot of tourists were stood next to an amazing monument. A bit went missing during a hurricane.
The first they heard was a noise like a hurricane coming down from the north.
Taken to the US.
And you can't buy this in the USA?
That can mean only one thing. We're at the Rock of Cashel. So let's go and have a look at the Rock of Cashel. Just for your guide, the piece taken to the US was transported there, not blown there by the hurricane. According to local legends, the Rock of Cashel originated in the Devil's Bit, a mountain 20 miles north of Cashel. Local legend states that St. Patrick banished Satan from a cave, resulting in the rock's landing in Cashel. Although this mound, or the hill as it may be referred to, where we find the Rock of Cashel, has been here since the Ice Age. So sadly a nice idea about St. Patrick, but simply not true. I'm the Wandering Englishman. Thank you for joining me while I explore another beautiful wonder on the Emerald Isle. Cashel is reputed to be the site of the conversion of the King of Munster by St. Patrick in the 5th century. The Rock of Cashel was a traditional seat of the Kings of Munster for several hundred years prior to the Norman invasion. In 1101, the King of Munster, Murchicard ul Blaen, donated his fortress on the rock of the church. The picturesque complex has a character of its own, and it has one of the most remarkable collections of Celtic art and medieval architecture to be found anywhere in Europe. Few remnants of the early structures survive. The majority of the buildings of the current site date from the 12th and the 13th centuries. I mean, this is truly a phenomenal piece of work. You've got to realise what we see here has come about through the ages.
No, he belongs to the ages.
All of these buildings are from the 12th century onwards. There's a tower just here through this window, which we're going to have a look at, which is built in 1101. And this tower is obviously indigenous to Irish culture.
That will be the Irish people.
Look at this tower. This is a round tower. Similar to the round tower, you see the lock. And up here, you see all these crows nesting. In every single hole, there's crows nesting. These holes here, scaffolding holes. Like, what I love is the sound of all these crows.
The crows.
They've come to say hello. Beautiful crows. Every single hole, you can see up here, has a crow nesting. They're all friends. They've got quite a community, these crows.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. Sometimes, just sometimes, the crow could bring that soul back.
I keep walking. I feel like everywhere I walk I'm in someone's photo. Every little detail of this place is a photo opportunity.
I just thought I needed another humiliating photo op.
There's been settlement on this site since 6000 BC, but obviously what we see here has got no connection to 6000 BC, but everything is like St. Patrick's Cathedral, St. Patrick's Tower, St. Patrick's everything. The cathedral that we stand in was built between 1235 and 1270. The building is of a cruciform plan, having a central tower and terminating westwards, the entrance that we came in via, in a massive residential castle. The Hall of the Vicar's Choral was built in the 15th century. The Vicar's Choral were laymen, sometimes minor canons, appointed to assist in chanting the cathedral services. The restoration of the hall has been undertaken since 1975, and now visitors like myself and you guys can now enter the site. In 1647, during the Irish Confederate Wars, Cashel was sacked by English parliamentarian troops under Murrogh O'Brien, 1st Earl of Inchiquin. The Irish Confederate troops there were massacred, as were the Catholic clergy, including Theobald Stapleton. Inchiquin's troops looted and destroyed many important religious artifacts to be found in this once amazing cathedral. In 1749, the main roof was finally removed by Arthur Prince, the Anglican Archbishop of Cashel. Price's decision to remove the roof on what had been called the jewel among Irish church building has been criticised for centuries since. I just got reminded by these ladies, there's a window over here. You can see that it's in an angle. The lepers would have effectively looked out towards the service because the lepers were restricted from viewing, whereas the people attending the service would have been sat in here and they would have come through here. The lepers would be stuck up in this room, whereas the service would have been going on down here, and they wouldn't be able to see their family, but they would be able to see the priest conducting the service.
1 minute I'm a leper with a trade, next minute my livelihood's gone. Not so much as a by your leave.
The reason this doesn't have a roof is because it was effectively burnt down, or not burnt down, they'd say it was taken away due to the tax on the roof system. But Oliver Cromwell came in here with his rabble of men to take back Ireland. In the process of doing so, him and his, savages.
A courier. A spy for Oliver Cromwell.
Came in, gathered up all the people of Cashel, put them into this church and effectively massacred them. Massacred over 1,000 people in this church. So you can imagine that the locals didn't really have much time for this church after that. So as the church entered disrepute and nobody wanted to come where there was known for its blood, think of it as like their 9/11. They were like, well, we don't care if the roof comes down, we don't care about this site anymore. But obviously time has moved on and the place has become precious again. And here we have the Irish Celtic crosses. It's quite spectacular, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
The oldest and the tallest of the structure is the well-preserved round tower, some 90 feet in height. The entrance is 12 feet from the ground, necessitated by a shallow foundation of only 3 feet in depth. Typical, though, of round towers throughout Ireland. If you're curious what they're like from the top or to climb, do check out my video on Kilkenny where I climbed the round tower in Kilkenny Island. The round tower was built using the dry stone method, although modern conservationists have filled in some of the tower with mortar for safety reasons to stop it toppling over. The outside plateau on which the buildings of the graveyard lie is walled. The grounds around the buildings are the extensive graveyards, including a number of high crosses. The most famous being Scully's Cross, one of the largest and most famous high crosses here, originally constructed in 1867 to commemorate the Scully family. No relation to Dana Scully. Sadly, this was destroyed in 1976 when lightning struck a metal rod that ran the length of the cross. The remains of the top of the cross now lie at the base of the cross, adjacent to the rock wall.
A little bit more sheltered by the wall. Obviously over there it's very wind exposed. Problem with this camera, it's very difficult to talk on camera when it's windy.
A quick break from the video. Now, as many of my subscribers will know, the majority of my content gets demonetized for reasons beyond my understanding. However, I keep plugging away at this channel because I very much enjoy making these videos. Despite losing my career in the financial markets due to the politics of the day, I'm able to have an income without working for the corporate machine because I still trade for myself all these years later. In terms of experience, I've traded for the last 3 decades. Yes, I am really that old. When I'm traveling and on the road, I use an array of platforms, but my preferred platform at this moment in time is the Exante platform. For those who want direct market access to thousands of financial instruments at a fair price, I highly recommend Exante. Exante gives me access to my old market, the fixed income markets, where smaller providers simply can't. They also give access to crypto, FX, equities, commodities, you name it. I like Exante not only for the efficiency of their trading interface, but because they are fully regulated. I feel safe that my cash is safe and ready to be utilized when needed. To support this channel, check out my referral link in the description below. Now back to the main video. The building looks much more modern than the original cathedral. Cormac's chapel was a chapel built for King Cormac Mac Cathedral. The building was built between 1127, eventually consecrated in 1134. It is a sophisticated structure with a vaulted ceiling and wide arches drawing on contemporary European architecture and infusing native elements. There's a big Germanic influence supposedly in this chapel. You really need to book in advance and only let limited numbers in. Features include the barrel vaulted roof, a carved tympanum over both doorways, the magnificent north doorway, the chancel arch, and the oldest, if you can believe this, the oldest stairs in all of Ireland. It contains one of the best preserved Irish frescoes from this time period, and the reason for the different colour is the chapel was constructed primarily of sandstone, which they had to bring from miles away to just get it here. So a real feat of engineering and craftsmanship. Sadly, this chapel became waterlogged over the centuries, significantly damaging the interior frescoes. Thankfully, restoration and preservation has been undertaken, which included enclosing the roof in a rainproof structure with interior dehumidifiers running daily just to sort of dry the place out. Like I say, it is now open for very limited tours to the public, so if you get to go inside, you are one of the fortunate ones.
As you can see, very popular with the tourists around here. Very popular site, but why not? It's a beautiful site.
God bless her and may she rest in peace. Queen Elizabeth II visited the Rock of Cashel in 2011 during her big visit to Ireland. She looked upon this site with awe, they say. Anyway, if you like this content and you'd like to watch more content like this, click subscribe on this channel, click the like button, feel free to share this video with your friends, and leave a comment to let me know what you thought. Have you visited the Rock of Cashel, or are you planning to visit the Rock of Cashel? I urge you to do so at some point in your lifetime if you have not. It is truly one of the wonders of Ireland.
Notice the modern extension, but it's not modern. It dates back hundreds and hundreds of years. But that is the Rock of Cashel. Beautiful, beautiful monument, and highly recommend it. Anyway, this has been the Rock of Cashel. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.